We are ready.
Okay. So welcome everyone for the fifth session of Jewflix. We're tonight doing the session a little bit later to adjust to our Latin American audience. We're joined today by a very amazing group of Latin American Jewish student leaders that come from a very cool background of different countries. Your host for tonight will be Andres, who is the president of FEJLA, the Latin American Union of Jewish Students. He's doing an amazing job, and he will lead the session with the panel of amazing activists. Andres, the floor is all yours.
Dear Jonathan, thank you very much, and thank you everyone for being here. I think this is a tremendous project from WUJS, the World Union of Jewish Students, which let us know each other better in these circumstances. I hope everyone there is safe. I introduce myself first. Firstly, my name is Andres Tazara. I'm the president of FEJLA, which is the Latin American Jewish Students Federation, which is part of WUJS, of course. And myself, I'm already a little bit more than a year the current president of FEJLA. I was in the past part of the Chilean Federation, the FEJ. And we have here four of our representatives of four local unions. We have Nathaniel from Venezuela, we have Nicole from Argentina, we have Ari from Mexico, and we have Alejandro from Chile, and of course our president, Jonathan, who is here with us as well. So I want to invite you guys. We're going to start for Nathaniel to introduce you just in a few seconds, and we're going to go on with our session. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Nathaniel Golfar. I live in Caracas, Venezuela. I study here in a Jewish school, and right now I'm studying liberal arts in the main university here in Caracas, Venezuela, and I work as a volunteer in the youth department here in the community. That is the only like Jewish youth department that has the community. Represent all the Jew people, and that's
okay. Amazing. Thank you very much, Nicole. Your turn.
Hi everyone. Well, I'm Nicole Moscovich, president of the Argentinian Union. Well, I have 2 degrees on political science and the other one in advertising. And now I'm studying a master in public policy. And professional speaking, in Argentina, I work for the national government at the National Production Development Ministry as a coordinator for the area of provincial productive information. Also, I'm in charge of report describing impact evaluation and performance indicator analysis related to gender agenda.
Thank you very much, Nicole. Now we're going to Ari. Mexico, welcome.
Yes, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you to each other. I'm Ari from Mexico. I'm the treasurer on the Mexican Federation. I do everything about the numbers and everything about the administration of the Mexican Federation with all the donations, with all the structure for the management of the Mexican Federation.
Thank you very much. And Alejandro, please, the mic is yours.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alejandro. I am, as of today, actually, the president of FEJ. I'm also a student in university. I'm on my last year. I'm studying political science and currently living in Chile. Also lived in Israel a couple of years. That's pretty much all you need to know about me.
So thank you all for the introduction. Well, first of all, before we start today's incredible session, I'm gonna briefly talk about how FEJLA was created and why. Well, so FEJLA first president was Ariel Borotzaner. By then, we're talking about the 2017 was the year when we decided to create a FEJLA together with Ariel and the Mexican union. By then, we just had two unions, which were the Mexicans and the Chilean union, the FEJ. So we gathered together in Mexico. We asked ourselves the reason of the creation of FEJLA was because we were asking ourselves why every time that we go to an international space or whatever related to that, I mean, we were just like a few Latin American people around there, and more than all, a few Latin American students around there. So that was a real shame. We took a look in our like European colleagues that were doing such an amazing job in Europe, the same in other regions. So we thought that it was totally important and necessary to create a regional body who represents, integrates, and empowers all the Latin American Jewish students in the region, in Latin America. So that was briefly the reason we created it. In the first years, we got approved by the eyes of all the Jewish students in the world in WUJS assembly, which was 2018 in Jerusalem. And then our goal was to keep creating unions around the region. And now we can say that we are doing a nice job. We have some unions in our region. We try to give activism to those places that they are in activism, or to empower the activism in places that where they are. So that's the reason we created FEJLA. And nowadays we are working with 7 countries, not all of them all federated unions, but we are on that path, and we changed our regional congress every year that is supposed to be in Jerusalem to this year, who was supposed to be in Colombia, in Cartagena, now in Maine, of course. For obvious reasons, we won't do it in May. We postponed it to September. So first of all, I really invite you all to be part of it. The idea of this summer youth, this concept that we brought from Europe is exactly to gain more people, to include more people, and to show this regional, international world to other students in the region who really will be amazing to have them there. So that's briefly FEJLA's story. And so we go into the next stage. The idea now is I invite you all, the 4 of you, to say, of course, what's the reality in your country in terms of in community terms, how's the Jewish life in your country, and how's the community, of course, the part of the students of the community, the youth of the community, how that works as well. We're going to start now with Ari. So.
Okay, perfect. So I will explain how is the function and works the Mexican Federation and Mexican Jewish community here in Mexico, and how Mexican the Mexican country in the Jewish Mexico. Okay, first and of all, we have to know that the Jewish Mexican life here in Mexico, it's separated in one community. From this one community, we have 5 communities. Okay, each community has their own federation, their own mini government, like a president the treasure sports club that calls Centro Deportivo Israelita. Is the most biggest in the whole Latin America sports club that we have here in Mexico. We have more or less than 30 temples to pray here in Mexico. Have like 18 schools. Each community has their own Jewish schools, but if I'm be in one community, I can go to other schools also. Each community is representative by the assembly. Andrés, ¿cómo se dice asamblea?
Assembly.
Assembly, for their own assembly. And we have another thing. Here in Mexico, we have like, how did I say? Like groups about everything that you can do for something to health, for something to religious, for something to security, for something to dance, for something to sports, for something to dance, for something to, I don't know, whatever thing that you can imagine. We have here in Mexico some groups. We have the Nuot Noir also. We have here in Mexico, more or less, we have like 10 Nuot Noir here in Mexico. There are FEMEG, that is the Federation of Mexico. We have the representative more or less than 30 unions that we have in the whole Jewish students here in Mexico. FEMEG organized every Congress for the like, for example, WUJS, for example, the AJC, for example, the FEJLA Congress, for example, the Mexican Congress, and everything here in Mexico. I don't know, maybe if you can do some questions and I can answer.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ari. The questions going to come in the end of the session, so
Perfect.
Appreciate it. Nicole, the mic is yours.
Well, thank you. Well, in Argentina, there are 45 million of people, and near 200,000 are active Jewish, and about 20% of that amount of people are the number of young people between 14 and 13 years old. We don't have exactly the percentage of, for example, Orthodoxism here, but they have a political weight of the most important Jewish institutions. The Jewish community in Argentina, even though we have two big institutions, AMIA and DAIA, it's quite dispersed. There is no centrality. Every institution plays their own game. The representation of the Jewish community is quite an issue. The two biggest, one doesn't represent what the young people think. And this may cause a problem because the young between 20 and 30 don't participate in the formal institutions.
I think we lost Nicole's.
In Argentina, yes.
Here you go.
Can you hear me well? Okay. Well, and another thing about our Jewish community here in Argentina is that some institutions requires like an important amount of money to go there. So if you want to participate in that kind of institution, you have to have money. You have to be middle, high class. So the people that, or those ones that can't afford that amount of money, maybe they participate in Tnuot, or they don't even involve with in a Jewish institution, and that's a big problem here, because that's why many young people also decide not to continue participating once they have to pay their fee for their own and not their families. That's such the big picture of here in Argentina.
Thank you, Nicole. Well, Nathaniel, you're the next.
Hi, everyone. So here in Caracas, Venezuela, we have a, difficult problem with the politics, because we have the same government for more than 20 years, and we have a critical economic situation that affect our community, because many years ago we were 25,000 here Jewish living in Caracas, and with the years they are going out, like going to other countries searching for better situation. And we have here at our community one Jewish center that it has all the sport activities and the extracurricular activities like Nuot Noir, religious activities also. It's like the main center for the community. Also, we have 17 synagogues in all the city. We have 2 funeral homes, we have 3 cemeteries, and we have 1 Beit Avot. All these institutions, they were here 15 years, they were established 15 years ago. So imagine right now having all these institutions to less people than before. So the community does an immense job to preserve each one of them, and also to help the people who doesn't have the enough resource to live here in Caracas, Venezuela. The community has working making all the efforts to help all the people that doesn't have all these resources. Also, we have not a big community of young Jewish people, because they are studying outside, like in United States, in Israel, because they don't study here, or because of that opportunities that they have. Also, when I mentioned before, we have one young Jewish department. Like it's the one that represents all the youth here in Caracas or in the country. Also, the community is strongly identified with Judaism and Zionism, and we have a low rate of mixed marriage. And it's a few points of like the things that we have here in the community.
Are you done, Nata? Are you okay? Or you're cool? Thank you very much. And now Alejandro from Chile is going to delight us. Welcome.
Hi again. So our country is about 18 million people in total, out of which approximately 15,000 are Jews. It's a pretty small community. It's mostly centered on Santiago, which is the capital of Chile. And inside Santiago is also like in a specific neighborhood, most of it. Not every Jew, obviously, but most Jews are in a specific neighborhood where both of the Jewish schools that we have are there, and most of the Jewish communities, like the synagogues, are also around that neighborhood. I would say we have about 10 to 15 Jewish synagogues. Maybe I'm missing a couple, but out of them, 3 are like the really like big conservative centers, and there is one very big like Orthodox center. Both our schools is one is like for the conservative and one is for the Orthodox movement. Conservative and also Reform, like everybody who's Jew and not Orthodox goes to that school. And then there's another one for the rest of them. And I would say there's about like our FEH, which is from 18 to 28 years old, represents about 800 to 1,000 people. So that's about like the young people here in Chile. We also have Noir, like all the other countries. They're really big. It's very rare to see Jewish people that do not attend at Noir. Even the Jewish people that do not attend the Jewish school and go to like American or English schools, most of them also attend the Tenuat Noir. So Jewish community life is very like strong here in Chile. That is, even though we do struggle with like being Jewish in Chile in the sense like not that people are against Jews, but there is a lot of like BDS movement that I'm gonna go into a little bit farther. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you very much, Alejandro, and everyone. Now, let's go more tachles. You as young representatives in your country, if you would have to choose one topic, for example, women empowerment, networking, or fighting asbara, or whatever, to represent you as a young leader in the Jewish community, which one would you pick? Why? And try to briefly explain it. Okay. So we're going to start this time with Nicole from Argentina.
Okay, well, this is quite an issue for me. As far as we all know, is that gender equality and women's economic empowerment are crucial factors for the sustainable development of societies, not only economic, also cultural. So what I'm asking myself is why we aren't discussing this in the Jewish community. Of course, globally speaking, women are often subject to employment discriminations, workplace inequality. Well, if we see indicators such as the number of women living in poverty or the rate of unemployment, we have there like something to see and something to pay attention. A local study here in Argentina indicates that women last longer in the education system, but if we analyze the average salary of men, is 31% higher than the salary of women. And this is not far away from the situation of the Jewish girls here, but anybody talks about this or even mention it in the Jewish community. We just take care about other stuff that are also important in the Jewish community, but women leadership is another issue that we have to take care of. And that's why I think that we have to pay attention to the items that I'm gonna tell you to clarify why is such an important matter to the Jewish institutions to start talking about women empowerment and women leadership. Having female leaders influence the extent of emphasis placed on gender equality in policy and practice. It's not enough just having women in the team if the team is not talking about the stuff that we have to talk. Women in Argentina need to have power on taking big decisions for their community. Women in leadership positions here in Argentina and in the communities tend to favor the qualitative distribution of resources. But the continuing dominance of men in the decision-making posts in the Jewish community limits women's voice in an ability to influence policy design at the level of communities. Not least as the UN recognized that gender parity within the organization is a crucial first step to orientate the system to develop on gender equality in education. What I want to say is there is a hard ceiling for women in school and university leader position. That is why I need, that's what we need. We need to get the parity in senior leadership. Every item that I had mentioned, and there are a lot of more, but we could be hours and hours talking about this. These items are very important because it collaborates to the development of our community, culturally speaking. Diversity helps to have many different points of view discussing, and it really helps to those Jewish communities who feel uncomfortable with these issues. You know why? Because it's gonna help them to deal with them, to study them, and to get involved. The best way of this would be acting to reach the equality. So that's for me, well, that's from my point of view, why it's so important to start talking and to start thinking about a gender agenda in the Jewish community here in Argentina.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Thank you very much for those beautiful words, Nicole, and for your enthusiasm in the gender equality. Okay, so now, Nathaniel, the mic is yours.
Thank you.
Okay, here in Venezuela, our efforts are in building like a succession generation, because we want like because we have less people, less youth, we want them to become like community leaders. So we are trying to empower that people that they are not active in the community, so they can in a future become community leaders, and they can like help in all the things that they matter at the community, because we have like difficult times. So also we make activities that they give like us making, because if you like here, I remember when there is a time that we have a blackout 4 days, like without electricity or internet or like Wi-Fi, all this stuff. And then we managed to carry out an activity with the youth people here. And we doesn't have like to, we cannot write you because we don't have Wi-Fi. So all the youth that they want to go to activity, they came to a Jewish center without us to telling them. So they arrived, and we managed to carry out this activity with most of the people that they came. So all this stuff, like the activities that we do, we cannot like project an activity in 3 months because we don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. So that's all the things that we build here, like small activities that they can reflect us that we are doing a great job in the next like generation that it's going to be part of the activism, the community activism.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Daniel. Now we go to Alejandro.
Thank you. So first of all, explaining that this topic is like my personal belief of what's like the most important thing right now. Obviously, there are a lot of issues in Chile, as there are in every country, obviously. But for me, what's most important right now is fighting BDS. And I'm not talking about fighting BDS in a way of like, if they're making like a demonstration or something, going there and like start talking with them or like stuff like that. I'm talking about getting our message through to the people that are in the middle. So the ones that are not against us, not the ones that are for us, obviously, but getting it to the people that are like right there in the middle and that they hear all this like stuff or things that they say about Israel and BDS and how it's a how they should boycott Israel and stuff like that. So what we're trying to deal with right now is we have one of the largest Palestinian communities outside of the Middle East. Most of them are Christian Palestinians, and they are like very, very attached to the idea of BDS being like the best way to fight against this. And it's gotten to a point where we, as FEH, we cannot make any activities with like political parties on the left side because they already like adhere to BDS. So let me explain an example. I asked a friend of mine, also studies political science, who's like a very like politically involved person in university politics, and I told her, hey, I want you to come and talk about Chilean politics to a group of Jewish students. And she said, I would love it, but my party like forbids me to do it. Like I really can't do it because my party has like a BDS clause and I can't go to a Zionist like event. And so it's gotten to a point where what we are trying to do is say, okay, I told her, okay, that's great. Just next time the BDS people go and talk to you and tell you like you shouldn't do any of this, also call me and let me explain to you why this is not like the right mentality, like this is not how we're gonna solve any problems, and we should actually be having a conversation where we are not having one. So this BDS is actually impeding us from like forging new relationships with specific groups of people, like politically left in especially. And it's also not right now, like we are not that bad, but it could get to mean like if we get like a really pro BDS movement inside universities or stuff like that, it could get actually be like a rough environment for Jewish life. So I think this is what we're dealing with right now. Like it's one of our most important things in regards to the Jewish community itself.
Thank you very much. I know the Chilean situation is from really close. It's a really hard thing that the Chilean students are doing, and a really incredible job, the job they are doing as well. So I am really proud of you guys. And to close, the Mexican Latin guy, Ari, your turn.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Andres. Okay, how I explained before, Mexican Jewish community is very strong, but it doesn't mean that we don't have any problems here in Mexico. I have two topics that I want to explain to you that we are dealing here in Mexico. The first one is the young people are missing out the Jewish community life. Okay, like we are trying to lead how to bring more young people to the Jewish community life, to our institutions, to do more projects, to have more initiative, to do, I don't know, whatever thing here in the Mexican Jewish community. That this is the first thing, because the people that is active in the community and the people that is not active, the line is like this, very large, and we have to do more small it, because if not, we didn't know how is the young people Jewish here in Mexico, it's gonna lead with the future of our community, because our community is totally strong. We have everything that we have to do everything that we want. But if the young people it's missing out to do something, it's gonna lose everything. And another topic that I want to explain here in Mexico is not just for the young people, but it's for the Jewish community. The cost, if we talk about budget, okay, about to live here in the Mexican Jewish community, it's very, 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 very big, a big deal here in Mexico. Okay, the Jewish schools, the cost, the prices are very, very, very big. The kosher food, it's very, the price is totally, how do you say, that
Expensive.
totally crazy.
Expensive.
That expensive. It's totally expensive. The classes after school is totally expensive, and everything that we have to do here in Mexico for live here in Mexico. I'm very, very inside in numbers of the Jewish community, and we have an statistic that we take from one of the 5 communities, and the 50% of this Jewish community, but because we have 5, 50 live in the, for the country, they live like a rich, but for the community, they live like a poor people. It is the issue that we have to deal here in Mexico, because we are gonna have for the food, we are gonna pay for the Jewish schools, because we all to a Jewish schools and live in the Jewish school. And that do not know, there is not know have a lot of kids, and there is not that they don't. If we are not deal with these 2 topics here in Mexico, that more young people don't missing out of the second, if we don't see to deal with the cost of the Jewish life here in Mexico, I don't know what is going to happen with it.
Thank you, Ari. Well, so now you guys can see the one of the reasons of FEJA's existence is precisely the difference of goals and visions and everything that we have in the region, so we can be unified in these organizations and put those issues in one body. So it's pretty nice to hear from you. So the next question, of course, related and regarding the situation, the current situation, we cannot avoid the most important question for now: how your countries are dealing with coronavirus thing or issue, and how you are, as organizations or personals, plan to confront, to live this situation and to contribute in the best way possible. So we're going to start now with Alejandro. So the mic is yours.
Thank you. Okay, so the situation with Corona in our country is a little bit mixed. In our country, and the community is a little bit different. What I mean by this is, so in the country, we already have like 7 people have died of it, and like more than 1,000 people are sick. Out of the Jewish community, we do have some people that got sick also. But most of the Jewish community, like I said before, lives in a specific neighborhood of Santiago, which is the capital where most of the coronavirus cases are concentrated. And in this neighborhood, most of the coronavirus cases are in this neighborhood. So there is actually right now like a quarantine for these neighborhoods, like 4 or 5. So we cannot, like I live in one of those, we cannot leave our houses without like a special permit, or go to another neighborhoods without a special permit, like only people that work in health or like essential jobs. So we're living a quarantine that affects a very, very small part of Chile and Santiago, but that part of the people that affects is most of the Jewish community. So our union is working. We're starting working today because just today we got elected, but we're going to start working via online meetings like this one, or making some like live Instagrams with like important people, trying to work on Chilean politics, which is a very hot topic right now in Chile because there's going to be a change in the constitution, or they're going to vote for it on the next semester. So we're going to do all of our work via like Zoom meetings and trying to do like live sessions with experts on the topics and everything like that. Most of our union, like the FEJ, like the directors, we are very like trying to work around this like this complexity of the situation, but we're also pretty hyped on like trying to do good stuff, good things, and not letting this like get into us.
Thank you very much. Well, so Ari from Mexico.
Perfect. So I'm going to start to explain how here in Mexico we are dealing with the coronavirus. Okay, I have ¿cómo?
No, we can't hear you, Ari.
¿Cómo se dice herramienta? Se me olvidó. Tool. Okay. I'm going to explain with one tool that I have here in Mexico. Okay. In Mexico, there is no import. The people here in Mexico, I'm going to start before I start to talk about our Jewish Federation here in Mexico. I'm going to start about the country. Okay. Here in Mexico, the corona starts like 2 weeks ago. But our president here in Mexico, he tell to every people in the country before 2 weeks that go out, anything is gonna happen here in Mexico, hug everyone, kiss everyone, like this, okay? And since yesterday or 2 days ago, more or less, to now, he says again that we have to keep ourselves in our houses, okay? Here in Mexico, we have to understand, like in the most of the Latin American countries, most of the people live in the poor life. Okay, if there is one person that he don't go to work, he's not gonna go to eat. Okay, here in Mexico, we are dealing because most of the people that live here in Mexico, we are like more or less like 120 million people. More or less like 60% of these people living the poor life. If they don't go to work, they are gonna die. Why? Know about the corona, because they can't eat. They don't have something to eat and give food for the families. And it's gonna happen, and it's a real situation in the most of the countries of the Latin America. Here in Mexico also, there is no importance now, more or less like the 30% of the Mexicans, we still in our houses, but for the 70%, they are out of their houses. There is no importance about the coronavirus now. There is a lot of the social awareness is missing here in Mexico, because the people said, what is going to happen to me? It's not going to happen and nothing to me, and like this. In the Mexican Federation, we have to cancel our Congress, that it's going to be in the final of April. We have to cancel also another, no another Congress. It's another thing that we wanted to do before, that calls it's something that we did for it's like a Shark Tank that we're gonna do, but in the later of the year. But we wanted to do in the final of this month. What we have to cancel, obviously. Obviously, we have to cancel everything that we have to do and make about Zoom. we're trying to talk with our people that give us some budget, like donates for our institution, if we can do something for them. In the Jewish community, they start to bring a lot of donations about something medical for the Jewish people, and that's something, the issues that we have to deal here in Mexico. We are not gonna, we didn't know what is gonna happen now, and obviously in the whole world also.
Thank you very much, Ari. You're now to Nathaniel.
Here in Venezuela, we have a different situation that it's that our government, they are provide us uncertain numbers of the people that are infected, the death, and they are getting recovered. So we don't know really the real numbers here, and we might think that they are more than they are telling us. Also, we have here 15 days of quarantine. It was like 2 weeks ago when the first case here arrived, and the government put us all in quarantine and having the same like things like Mexico, that they if you want to go outside, you need a paper that help you to with the authorities to know that you are going outside for a reason. Also, we are having problems with the service like water and electricity that I tell before, like the situation with the blackout here in most of the cities and doesn't have water. Also, we are having a gas shortage that is one of the biggest problems right now, because imagine if you don't have gas to go to a place, imagine how are going to be like the supermarkets and all these places where you can buy food or things for your house. You cannot go, and they cannot bring them because the food is made in the like outside the city. So how they are going to bring the food here to the city? It's very difficult, the situation, and I think that in a few days it's going to be worse. Also, the community is doing an immense job to help all the people like up to 60 years old that they are alone at their home. We, as a volunteer in the youth department, we are working on that, calling them where if they need something, we can provide them the food, medicine, etc., and other things. Also, the community is helping the people that they might be having the symptoms of the virus, and that's a good thing here, that we like so we can have a strong community and they can help other people inside the community also. And we, as a youth department, beside the things with the other people, we are doing activities in our social media. That it's a huge thing because we don't have a really good Wi-Fi here, because I told you that our service, they are not so good here. So we are doing whatever we can to provide like the provide help and provide information to every person that they might need.
Thank you very much, Nada. Incredible job that you guys are doing there. Thank you. And last for the better, last for the best, Nicole, please. So
Okay, well, as in all over the world, the situation here is not an exception. I can't deny. It's very critical. We have like 569 people active with coronavirus, 23 people deceased, but also 228 have been recovered. So that's something good. But all the decisions that must have been taken were taken by the president and the ministries and on time, and that's something to say because it avoids more cases going on. And of course, here in Argentinian, with the union, we adapt to the situation. To help the ones that are in a very vulnerable situation, we create like a platform where people who need help can match with people who can give help, filling a form that is connected to a database. Then we are interviewing important people, sharing via Instagram or Zoom, so that the youngs could be able to attend virtually to the talks that were planned before coronavirus happened. We are trying to do our best to help people and also to still continue our activities to give the young the content that they need. And well, we are here to help with all the things that we can. But well, we are all in our houses. We can't go out just. We can go out just to buy things in the market, but it's a critical situation. But if we all do the things that we have to do, it's gonna be okay. That's all.
Well, so thank you all for telling us your situations. By the way, even though I'm the Latin American president, I'm living here right now in Jerusalem. So for me, it's also interesting to hear what is happening in Latin America. Here in Israel, we are doing fine. Prime Minister is telling us every day that we are out of danger. So let's hope that's true. And yeah, I mean, it's incredible to hear from all of you guys how you are dealing with it. And it's beautiful to think ways to be involved, even though we are in a hard situation as activists and as young adults or students or whatever. But that's the important thing. So before we close our lovely session, I am gonna leave the space open for some questions of the people, like either you or anyone to any one of us that you want to ask something. You are more than invited to do it. So if you can write on the chat, and Jonathan, maybe you can read the questions for us.
Yes, of course. I can tell you already one that someone sent me. So the question is, like, for you, Andres, as president of the Latin American Union, like, how do you see, let's say, in 2 years or 3 years, the perfect picture behind you? Like, what would you like the field to look like? How would you like to see FEJLA and all the Latin American unions evolve?
Okay, so thank you very much. Well, so if you're aware, FEJLA has 3 years of existence by far. It's even younger than the Chilean and Mexican Union. So again, by far, we are totally proud of what we're doing. Like now, I think we have a lot to learn from the European Union as well, and of course WUJS, the World Union, to make bigger our organization. In 2 years, my dream is like to every Jewish students in Latin America to know Fechla and to have the possibility to be part of it. I mean, that's the reason, and I go back. That's the reason we are right now organizing this Summer U event that as I mentioned before, is a product that we brought from Europe. And talking to some ex-Fechla, Fufsla was the name of the Fechla, but it's the same. Ex-Fechla presidents, they all agreed that the thing that we have to do is involve more people. So how do we do that? Like, we figured out that we cannot continue bringing people to Israel for WUJS Congress or something. I mean, in a massive way, of course. And instead of that, we have to bring more people in the region to bring them to a regional experience and to motivate them to be part of it, and to like tell them what incredible job we are aiming to do in our region, the Jewish community. So that's the answer.
So I'm going to go on the second question I have, which is, like you just touched upon this. People are asking, two people asked when is going to be the Summer U in Latin America.
So we already launched we're gonna launch the new first save the date in the next days, but the official date, if God wills, Bezrat Hashem, it's gonna be the September 3rd. September 3rd is the new Summer U date, but we really hope that we can make it that possible according to this current situation and the near future how we see it.
So the last question we have is from me. Can you, like everyone is in quarantine right now, can you suggest one food or drink that we should try from Latin America? Every speaker can suggest one.
Nathaniel, maybe?
Yeah. Okay. We have our local food here. It's called arepas. That is
Oh, very nice one.
a very nice one.
Very good.
And it's very simple. You have, I don't know how you say, but it's harina de maíz.
Cornbread.
Cornbread. So you can, it's famous one. I think that in all the countries, you can have them because all the thing with the immigration and all the Venezuelan people around the world have them. So arepas is the one that you have to try.
What about the drink?
Drink here we have rum, that it's the famous one. One is the Santa Teresa rum, that it's the special, like the one around the world that has been prices and all this stuff. So Santa Teresa rum.
Amazing. Ari, what do you say from Mexico? Obviously.
Okay. Could you please repeat just the question?
What's if you have to recommend some like drink or food to pass this quarantine, what would you recommend? And of course, a local food and drink from Mexico.
Ah, perfect. Here in Mexico, we have a beer that calls Corona. It's the best one. Okay,
Yeah,
here in
probably.
Mexico,
He doesn't know about any drinks in Mexico.
see, I don't drink.
Tequila.
What about the tequila?
I don't drink tequila. I don't drink, bueno, just beer. But sometimes, but I start to drink in my honeymoon like a year ago. So I didn't know about drinks.
So give us a food. Give us a food.
Yeah.
So maybe going to the gym.
Exactly. Go to the gym. Here in Mexico, we have a typical food that calls tacos. Okay, the tacos, it's a tortilla with beef. It's a lot of types of beefs that it's totally delicious. We also have something that calls chilaquiles. What is chilaquiles? Chilaquiles is also tortilla with cheese and sauce, green or red sauce. We also have something that calls quesadilla. What is quesadilla? Tortilla with cheese. Everything is with the same thing, but it's a different name. We also have here enchiladas. What is enchiladas? Also tortilla with cheese and with sauce. Everything is the same, but it's totally delicious.
Well, I have to say that I have to admit now that we don't have a Peruvian in the house, because that would be a really interesting fight. But to be honest, even though it sounds boring what Ari told us right now, the Mexican food, I have to say, is the best of the region.
The
No
best,
doubt.
the best,
No doubt. Yeah.
the best.
Mm.
Yeah.
You have to know that Mexico wins the first time. In the first time, the tacos al pastor, the food tacos al pastor wins the best food in the whole world last year.
So yeah, that's a very good advice. And if you have the chance to go after coronavirus ends to Mexico to try some food, I would recommend, even though in the streets it's amazing. So from Chile, wow, that's going to be hard.
I think I would say, okay, to drink from Chile, you have to drink pisco. Peruvians will say the same, but try ours. And to eat, maybe, I don't know. I mean, we do love barbecues, but you should try Argentinian barbecues. Those are better. Empanadas, I would say, like empanada de pino is a very nice like meal to have.
I have also to say, and now with some knowledge, being a Chilean, that it is a shame, but if there's some Chilean over there that can correct me, maybe, but I have to say that we don't have a real and like authentic food. I mean, everything that we have that is called originally from Chile is not originally from Chile. For example, the empanadas that are from Argentina, the ceviche is from Peru, also the pisco, and some others that are from somewhere else. That something that I really try to think something Chilean that we can say by heart. So so there's some hard to say here the cazuela, but I wouldn't be proud to sell the cazuela in front of the tacos, the Mexican tacos. So maybe we won't say it. Just we're gonna leave it away. So okay, so Argentina.
Well, here, of course, we are very famous for our barbecue. Meat here, Argentinian meat is really, really good. Then, well, we have empanadas. It's kind of barenique, but you put it in the oven, not just like you do with the pasta. And it can be filled with meat or vegetables. It's pretty awesome. And to drink, we have a drink that it's called Fernet. It's like an appetizer. And also we have the best wines are from Mendoza. It's a province here in Argentina. And well, we are famous also because of the mate. You know what mate is?
Yeah, it's a kind of a herb.
Yes, it's a kind of a herb. Like you put it in a glass. It's not a glass, but I don't know how to tell. It's similar to a glass, but made with pumpkin. No, but well, okay.
Un termo,
Then,
like
yes, and you use a term you put hot water there, and then you drink it. You can drink it. I don't know. You can put there orange, some pepper, herbals, kind of that. But the best from Argentina is, I can't deny this, the barbecue. You have to taste the barbecue.
Okay, so so thank you for those amazing and delicious dishes and drinks that I really hope that we can enjoy it very soon. I want to thank you, Jonathan, for letting us talk and present our union's leaders and realities right now. I hope that we can continue with this kind of activities and experiences. And I wish you all a really healthy and less boring quarantine that we are having. So thank you very much all for being here.